लोकगति देखी आचार्य करुणा हृदय विचार करे ना लोकेर कछ हित है लोकगति देखी आचार्य करुणा हृदय विचार करे ना लोकेर कछ हित Mataji's any Mataji's लोकगति देखी आचार्य करुणा हृदय विचार करे ना लोकेर कछ हित है Word meaning Lokagati, the course of the world. Dekhi, seeing. Acharya, Advaita Acharya. Karuna Hriday, compassion, compassionate heart. Vichar Karena, considers. Loker, of the world. Kyache, how. Hita, welfare. Haya, there is. Translation. Seeing the activities of the world, the Acharya felt compassion and began to ponder how he could act for the people's benefit. Purport. This sort of serious interest in the welfare of the public makes one a bona fide Acharya. An Acharya does not exploit his followers. Since the Acharya is a confidential servitor of the Lord, his heart is always full of compassion for humanity in its suffering. He knows that all the sufferings is due to the absence of devotional service to the Lord, and therefore he always tries to find ways to change people's activities, making them favorable for the attainment of devotion. That is the qualification of an Acharya. Although Sri Advaita Prabhu himself was powerful enough to do the work as a submissive servitor, he thought that without the personal appearance of the Lord, no one could improve the fallen condition of the society. In the grim clutches of Maya, the first-class prisoners of this world wrongly think themselves happy because they are rich, powerful, resourceful, and so on. These foolish creatures do not know that they are nothing but play dolls in the hands of material nature, and that any moment material nature's pitiless intrigues can crash to dust all their plans for godless activities. Such foolish prisoners cannot see that however they improve their positions by artificial means, the calamities of repeated birth, death, disease and old age are always beyond the jurisdiction of their control. Foolish as they are, they neglect these major problems of life and busy themselves with false things that cannot help them solve the real problems. They know that they do not want to suffer death or the pangs of disease and old age, but under the influence of the illusory energy, they are grossly negligent and therefore do nothing to solve the problems. This is called Maya. People held in the grip of Maya are thrown into oblivion after death, and as a result of their karma, in the next life they become dogs or gods, although most of them become dogs. To become gods in the next life, they must engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, they are sure to become dogs or hogs in terms of their laws of nature. The third-class prisoners, being less materially opulent than the first-class prisoners, endeavor to imitate them, for they also have no information of the real nature of their imprisonment. Thus, they are also misled by the illusory material nature. The function of the Acharya, however, is to change the activities of both the first-class and third-class prisoners for their real benefit. This endeavor makes him a very dear devotee of the Lord, who says clearly in the Bhagavad-gita that no one in human society is dearer to him than a devotee who constantly engages in service by finding ways to preach the message of Godhead for the real benefit of the world. The so-called acharyas of the age of Kali are more concerned with exploiting the resources of the followers than mitigating their miseries. But Sri Advaita Prabhu, as an ideal acharya, was concerned with improving the condition of the world situation. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Radita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratveshe Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Galpatruvescha Kripa Sindhu Bevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this translation, seeing the activities of the world, the Acharya felt compassion and began to ponder how he could act for the people's benefit. This verse talks about the nature of the Acharyas and their feeling of compassion when they see people suffering. So we'll start from very beginning. We'll talk about the animals first. When you see animals, Prabhupada gives an example of a goat. When a goat is slaughtered, the other goat continues to eat the grass. And the goat doesn't think that it is its next turn to being slaughtered. So this is one kind of animal. Another kind of animals are those who cry out in fear and they try to run away. Just like you would have seen some videos from animal welfare. So says that stop killing of animals. They show that how animals start crying, become terrified, try to run when they see that they're in a slaughterhouse. So that is the second type of animals. First is the who doesn't care, keep on eating the grass. The second is those who cry and try to run away. Then there are certain animals who feel pain when their near ones, their loved ones or children are being slaughtered. They feel pain. They may cry for some time, but they are ultimately helpless. And we see the same tendency in humans also. There are certain humans who doesn't give a damn when they see that others are suffering. They are busy eating their own food, busy enjoying their own sense gratification. They don't care that death will come and take them away at any point of time. This is one type of people. Another type of people are those who become fearful when they see other people are suffering. So they try to run away in seclusion, run away to mountains, run away in forest for their own benefit. They don't care about those who are suffering, but they run away into their own to protect themselves. So that is second category of people. And then there are certain people who may feel pain when they see people are suffering. They feel pain. But then after some time they feel that they are helpless. They can't do very much. It is a news for them in the society that, oh, this is happening. They may talk for some time, they may shed a few tears, and then it becomes an old news. And they are helpless. So there is not much difference between what the animals are doing and what we are doing. They are also, they don't care, we don't care. They cry out of fear, we cry out of fear and run away. And there's no much, they feel pain, we are feeling pain. So there's no much difference. But then, there are certain people who really try to do something. Animals cannot do. They are helpless. They cannot do anything. But there are certain people, very rare, who think that yes, I need to do something to help the society. And this requires a lot of sacrifice. Because nobody is expecting you to do this. The government will not penalize you if you are not doing all these things. And people will also not, they may appreciate your work, but they'll not oblige you for doing all these things. It requires really, sacrifice, personal sacrifice to do something ahead to help the society. Out of those who try to help people out of compassion, most of them are busy helping the body. Just like Prabhupada gives example of a drowning man. A person drowning and we are trying to save his coat pant. So all the people around, they are trying to help others just on the bodily conception of life. Most of them are trying to help on the bodily conception of life. So that help is not really the help which is needed. And then there are very rare people who think that helping on the level of soul is very important. And out of those who are thinking to help people on the level of soul, unfortunately in the age of Kali Yuga, most of them are trying to cheat. Why? Because they have certain motives they want to fulfill. Just like Prabhupada is talking in the last few lines of this purport, that they try to fulfill their own motives by utilizing the resources of their disciples and followers, exploit their resources. Just like the advertising industry is working. You make a product or service, sell in the market, get money, make huge margins out of it. Similarly, you sell this product of devotional service, create a need, bring people and exploit their resources. Hence, there are very, very extremely rare people who are genuinely concerned about the welfare of people. And this is what Prabhupada is talking about in the beginning of his purport. That this sort of serious interest in the welfare of the public makes one a bona fide acharya. This sort of serious interest. This is not self-interest. This is serious interest in the welfare. This makes them a bona fide acharyas. So such bona fide acharyas who are representatives of the Lord are extremely rare, and they are always worried seeing the condition of people. And they observe how people are reacting and come out with various solutions to help them. Bring out that whichever way, yena kena prakarena, whichever way they can be helped to bring back to Krishna. Hence they devise so many new methods to help. You see Krishna, Lord Krishna, earlier he gave so many Vedic scriptures, vast amount of scriptures, but then he combined everything and gave the essence in the form of Bhagavad-gita. Essence, short course. Bhagavad-gita, having all the principles of Vedic knowledge. Then you see Narad Muni, who chastised Vyasadeva for for compiling so many Vedic scriptures and give the essence of all Vedic scriptures in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad Muni, you see how Narad Muni was devising various methods of preaching. How he preached differently to the Prachetas by giving the message of pure devotional service, straight method. But to Prachini Barishad, he gave a full story to explain. How he preached to Mrigari. He did not tell him to kill the animals. He said that just don't kill, just don't half kill. Because there are a lot of reactions involved. Simply by understanding their tendencies, Narad Muni devised so many different ways of preaching. Then in the same parampara, you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he devised a method, how he scaled up Sankirtan movement. And then you see Bhakti Vinod Thakur, how he started with the Nam Hatta program, and alone, single-handedly, he was preaching and cultivating thousands and thousands of people without the use of technology. Then in the same parampara came Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who devised the method of bringing up dioramas to tell people, help them explain the message of Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam in a more visualizing way. Then came Prabhupada, who devised another new methods of preaching into book distribution and so many ways, and reached to so many thousands and thousands of people. And now, in his parampara, you see that his followers have brought out so many different methods of preaching. Now it's not just about coming and sitting in a class. There are youth class, there are congregation class, there are senior citizen class, there are classes for the children, there are classes for the VIPs, there are classes for the life members, and there are classes for the handicapped people, there are deaf preaching. So many different kinds of preaching is now going on. The message is same, but there are different ways to cater to different kind of audience, and hence different methods have been introduced. Prabhupada is saying that all this is required, different methods are required for preaching. Why? Because everybody has different kind of need, and to cater to the need, the only solution is devotional service. How the person will accept devotional service, that will vary. But this requires conviction. It requires conviction amongst us that yes, the only solution is devotional service. But however, I have to present this solution of devotional service in a more creative and innovative way so that people accept it and take to that process. We don't deviate from the principles. No, we'll not. But we will devise different ways to reach out to people. Like the statement, Prati ghare ghare giya karo ek bhiksha, bolo Krishna bhajo Krishna karo ek shiksha. So Prati ghare ghare giya. Now you cannot go to every Prati ghar. There are so many societies, they won't let you in, right? So you may not be able to devise the same way what 500 years ago was possible, going to every house. But now you can go to every device through digital preaching and reach out to every person. So we have to innovate. We have to come out with different ways. But the message of devotional service remains the same. And this is not something, which is extraordinary, which is demanded. Bringing out innovative ideas to preach. There's nothing which is, very extraordinary, which is asked. Today you see so many startups are coming up. And everybody is bringing up with so many business ideas. What they are doing? They are observant. They are observing what are the problems which are there in the society. And then how their product can solve it. And then they devise a technology accordingly. Right? This is how the startups work. So many thousands and thousands of startups are there. And then they will raise funds. Investments will be raised. And then not every entrepreneur is every entrepreneur is very expert in every field, right? Marketing, operations, strategy, finance. So he will collaborate with so many experts, form a group, form a board committee, and so that everybody works together, he gives a share of their company equity to these people, and then he respects their advices, and this is how they create a startup to and bring out the innovative ideas. So outside people, they are doing all these things, bringing out new ideas, selling the same thing in a new packet. Outside people are doing all these things. So if for spreading the message of Krishna, if we are taxing our brains to bringing out new ideas, this is not something extraordinary thing which is being asked. This is what Prabhupada expected us. We need to tax our brains so that we can reach out to people in a more reach out to people, more and more people. This is what Prabhupada expected. And this is how we will make our intelligence purified. This is required. Not conventional ways of preaching would work every time. So this is something where we have to put our energy in without changing the message. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Holy Name is the only solution. All the knowledge is there in Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. These messages will not change. The presentations will change, and we have to bring out with those innovative ideas. But we accept that not everybody would be able to bring those innovative ideas. Like making money so many people are making money in startups. Young people becoming billionaires by starting so many startups, right? But not everybody would be able to do, because people have their own varna. Then they'll not be able to take up those kind of Kshatriya kind of spirits. Not everybody would be able to do. Similarly, in our Krishna consciousness movement also, not everybody would be able to bring those innovative ideas or lead from the front. We accept this fact. And hence, those who are not able to bring those ideas must follow. Must follow those who are bringing all these ideas. Without getting envious. That I am not able to do, and I will not let other people also do. So without becoming envious, we should follow these ideas. You know why? Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 21, verse number 26. Prabhupada tells this very beautifully. Four 21:26 निकाल दिया. लास्ट में आ जाओ. आगे. So last few lines Prabhupada is writing, since the Krishna consciousness movement going on at the present moment is genuine, perfect and authorized, and is following in the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj, anyone who cooperates with this movement or accept its principles will get the same results as the workers who are actively propagating Krishna consciousness. Right? So those who are taking that extra mile, the extra step to preach the Krishna consciousness, lead Krishna consciousness, and we are not able to do that, we should better follow and cooperate with them, and we'll get the same benefit as those who are leading. Not that we become envious and inactive. We'll get the same benefit as they are getting. So bring out the innovative ideas and lead. If you're not able to lead, better follow. This is the idea. And in this way, every one of us would be able to, give our contributions in taking this movement forward. Otherwise, after some time, people will become, they will see that this is another traditional thing, not very dynamic, and then they'll try to move to so many other, false preachers on YouTube, and they'll become their followers who are bringing up so many new ideas, fancy ideas. They'll get attracted towards them. And I am seeing that people are getting attracted. When I see people in corporates, not everybody is looking into, some kind of jokes and reels. People, they look at some religious things, spiritual things, but they want it to be presented in a way which matches their vibes, which match with their vibes. And hence, we have to take those steps. That is where we need to tax our brains. And that is where we have to come together. Just like I gave the example of the startup. We have to come together. The guy who is taking care of the startup, he's not expert in every field. He may not be expert in strategy or marketing or finance and all the fields. So he collaborates with the people. Similarly, we may not be very expert in all the fields. You may think that, oh, I'm a brahmachari, I've been in temple for a decade. I may not know what is going on in the entire society. But you are convinced that yes, devotional service can help in spreading the message. Now you engage your students or devotees connected with you who have this kind of experience, and use them, train them to get into these kinds of areas. So knowing the technology is not important, but connecting with people and cooperating with each other. And then you have to give them the kind of respect and share they want. That share may not be in terms of monetary terms, but the kind of respect, the kind of cultivation they require. That is how a society works. We take care of our people internally, and we take care of the people who are people outside also. It is both an internal and external affair. So we take care of that. But ultimately, the point is that all this will work only and only if we have strong conviction that devotional service is the only solution. Bhakti is the only solution for the problems we are facing today. And all the problems have been explained by Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam with solutions. You need to understand that how the certain purports of Prabhupada give the solution to our problems. That is where we put our brains, and there Krishna will help us. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna will give us that brain. The only thing that is required is strong faith. If we don't have faith in that the only solution is bhakti, then putting our brains in preaching would become, a kind of burden on us. It's something which is out of the world has been expected from us. No. This is something which should come with happiness. That yes, I'm trying to preach, and this is the solution. And how to build this conviction? This conviction will be built in two ways. First is reading Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam. If we thoroughly read Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam, then only we will be able to understand what Prabhupada wants from us. And second is chanting. When we chant and follow the four regulative principles, we externally at least becomes free from the sins. And when we become free from the sins, then what happens? Te dvandva moha nirmukta. Then we become free from dvandva and moha. From our confusions and dualities will become free. Then we will be able to fix ourselves on this path. So two things are required. Regular chanting and reading, one, and following the four regulative principles. Chanting and following regulative principles will at least keep you free from sins. And by reading Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam, you will get knowledge. And through this process, you'll become fully convinced that this is the only solution. So, I remember few statements of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, which I love them. And I want to repeat them verbatim, as it is. So Maharaj says, chant and read. Read. There are so many books of Srila Prabhupada. You should read. Then Maharaj says, I know, whenever I see you, I always tell you to read. But in spite of telling that, you don't read. And even if you read for 10 to 15 minutes, Naam ke vaste. So this Naam ke vaste reading is not enough. You have to read as if you have to get a degree. Just like you tell your parents, just like parents tell their children, study, study, study. Huh? Similarly, you have to read Prabhupada books. Then you will understand what Krishna wants, what Acharya wants, and then you will not commit offenses, you will not speculate, and you will become free from Vaishnava prads, and you will make spiritual advancements. So everything should come from Shastras. So chant and read and make your spiritual life stronger. This is exact statement of Maharaj. So he focuses exactly on developing our conviction through Prabhupada books and chanting. If you do this, then our faith will become very strong. Once our faith becomes very strong, then even if we face a lot of difficulties, even if so many people, they don't cooperate with each other, still our determination will not become weak. Our progress may become slow, but our determination will not become weak. Because every time the results will not come, or the results will not come at the same frequency as we expect. We may face the negativities also. But then we are convinced that yes, this is the only solution. And then this will protect us from deviating from the philosophy. Yes, we have to innovate, we have to tell people in different ways. Outside people, as Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, they don't even know that they are suffering. And if we get into too much of innovation, we may deviate also from the path. We start with preaching Krishna consciousness, then we become a motivational speaker, and then we gradually talk about morality, and then we are out. You have seen so many people who have deviated from the path and gone. We don't need to bring the philosophies of outside motivational speakers here. I don't need the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in a hidden way when I am preaching, or any such kind of damn book written by cow eaters. Our Prabhupada has given us the best philosophy, and we have to use our brains to present it in the best way, and that is sufficient. This will take time, and if we are not able to do it, at least we should try to follow. Either lead or follow. That is going to help us, and those who are extremely genuine, extremely serious, they are the bona fide acharyas, as Prabhupada is mentioning. And the same way how you see Advaita Acharya is doing. And you see in the next verse, Advaita Acharya is praying out of his humility that I cannot help these fallen people. So it is only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who can do this. Hence he prays for the descent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is doing out of humility, we are doing out of our own confession that I may not be able to do. So in those cases we should always try to connect the people whom we are preaching to our superiors. Because I have certain level of consciousness, my superiors have a better level of consciousness than me. So we should try to bring them to our superiors. Not that this is my group and I am their acharya. So we should try to, cultivate them, preach them, bring it to our superiors, and our superiors will take them to their superiors. And this is how they'll connect to the Guru Parampara. So that is our aim. But the root is that we have to develop our conviction. Conviction comes by chanting, reading, and following 4 regulative principles. Hare Krishna. So any questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class, Prabhu. And you're talking about innovative ideas. And it's nice that we should have innovative ideas, startups and all. But this is the month of marathon. And it's a time-tested book distribution, no? So you would like to say something about book distribution to inspire us?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So book distribution also, like we have so many devotees who go out for book distribution. And they are taxing their brains in more innovative ways to preach. Like they are going out on the roads and signals. Then they are putting books in a wholesale. They are doing so many corporate seminars. Then they are bringing sponsorship. There are different ways for bringing this knowledge, preaching this knowledge to people. So in every field, whether it's book distribution or anything, we have to tax our brains so that how we can reach to the people in the best way. And book distribution is something which cannot be substituted. That is the base of our movement. And Prabhupada said that we are not the salesman, that we are selling the books. We are not the salesman. Out of compassion, we are going to people and telling them the message. So we should have that compassion. That compassion will come when we have thoroughly read those books. So I request everyone, and I also try to follow this whenever we go out for book distribution. We read a few pages, and whatever we have read, we take strength from that and try to help the people. We meet. Once I was doing book distribution. So I was in Connaught Place doing book distribution. So there was a lady who was smoking cigar. So she was smoking cigar and said, "What Bhagavad-gita? You should preach Vedanta Sutra." Where is that? Do you have Vedanta Sutra? And this kind of nonsense is there. So people, they don't understand this philosophy. And there are people who say that they don't have time. And they think that what we are doing is rubbish. And they are very happy in their fashionable clothes with a girl on their right hand. They are very happy in that form. They think that this is the best thing they could ever have. So this is not something we should become envious of, that we don't have all these things. Rather, we should feel that they are moving on the path to hell. And this is the only chance which Krishna might have given them. Somehow somebody, and Krishna has made me an instrument to take this Bhagavad-gita to this person. Even if he doesn't take Bhagavad-gita, but this little association which he is getting, this little association might help that person to have that little piety, to, which Prabhupada talks about Shraddha. Shraddha comes with appreciation towards devotees, Prabhupada tells. So this little Shraddha I can try to build. I may not be able to give the book, but at least little Shraddha through appreciation I can create. This minute association, love matra sadhu sang, which he may be getting right now. So even if your books are going out, they are not, the people are taking books, they are not taking books. But what little association we are giving That is their only asset they have for their life. This is truly an activity of compassion. Jagannath comes out on road. Now Krishna in the form of Bhagavad-gita comes out everywhere on the road, every gully, so that he can reach out to people. So it's the most compassionate activity. And every one of us, whether we have time, we don't have time, actually it's matter of conviction. Everybody of us have time. So whatever time we have, we should try to use it little or more, try to preach, and whatever efforts we will make, our Rasbihari will become very happy with us. Thank you. Any other point? Anyone? No? So we'll stop here. It's already 8:30. Hare Krishna.